start with the story, I'll tell you a very interesting story. I have, the real story for you to discuss and understand what analytics is. Okay, and to start with, let's start with our story of a pub. Okay, so this story is about a real pub. The pub is based in Gurgaon. Okay, Gurgaon is in like it's closer to Delhi, and this pub had some problems, and we'll understand what the problem is. Okay, so here we go. The first thing, just read this and let us discuss about what exactly the problem this pub is facing and what could be the solution of this problem. Okay, so the pub in the city of Delhi was witnessing a decline in the sales and the profit. Okay, so they are witnessing a decline in the sales as well as profits. Okay, now, okay, the promoters of the pub did several marketing campaigns, but then they were not successful. They were not able to increase the sales. So the increase in the sales was not significant. Okay, so now what they did was they decided to hire a analytics consulting company, okay, to help them with the increase in the sales, because you cannot survive long without increase, without without a revenue, without an increase in the revenue. So that's the reason they thought, let us we have already invested so much of our money, so let's also invest in hiring a consulting company, and this consulting company is going to help them to increase their sales. Okay, so now let's understand what happened next. Okay, so the next is the consultant analyzed the problem. They understood, they went through their sales records. They, checked their business model. They did several studies. Okay, and they came up with a strategy which resulted in the increase in the sales by 30%. Okay, so there was a 30% increase in the sales when they implemented this strategy. Now I want you to guess what this strategy could be. Okay, you can just post your answers in the group. Okay, so what could be their strategy? What strategy they would have recommended to this company so that they can increase the online sales? I'm not online sales. I'm going to say the sales of the company, which is a pub. Okay, what do you think could be the strategy? You can just tell me. Tell me, anything that any thought that comes to your mind. So just imagine you are having a own pub. Okay, Janvi says, I think they may. I'll tell you, okay, I'll be more specific here, Janvi. The thing is, the company, the pub, is actually a very good pub. Okay, it's a very famous pub in Paris. The promoters of the pub have invested a lot of money in the pub. Okay, and the products and the services are really good. Okay, and one more input, most of the times the pub is full, but even then the company or a pub is not able to do enough sales or a profit. Okay, comparison with the other pub. Okay, there are 8 pubs in the vicinity of the same pub. There are 8 pubs in the vicinity of the same pub. Okay, and all the 8 pubs are doing good except for this pub, despite having such a good infrastructure and despite having such a good facilities inside the pub, and it's one of the best pub in that particular area, but the sales and the profit are declining. So what do you think? What could be the strategy? So one thing that you should understand is the pub is full, that means there is a demand. Anybody? Gopal, Janvi, Srinivas, Veda. Okay. Okay, I'll repeat the question once again. Okay, so the question is, now since you have asked me some questions and some questions have come which made me to give some more information. So the first thing is that there is a pub. Okay, the pub is witnessing the decline in the sales and the profit. Okay, so now the pub is full most of the time. This is not, this is a point which is not there in the presentation. The pub is full most of the time, but even then, even though people are coming to the pub is witnessing the decline in the sales and the profit. So what could be the problem? When a particular company will have decline in the sales and the profit, even when you have customers coming and sitting with, in the pub. Anybody with any questions or any answers, any strategy which you think can improve this particular business? It's a very simple question. Okay, it's not a great thing that you should break your head for. uh, you can just think in the roots of the problem and try to understand what could be the problem. Okay, Srinivas says, usually customers need wise option in the product. Okay, as per the sales, okay, as customer sales is low, maybe they are spending more time. Okay, Veda, that's interesting. Analysis of the sales. Okay, Gopal, can you be more specific when you say analysis of the sales? Veda is saying that the sales is low, so maybe people are spending more time. Okay, so what can you say more about that, Veda? Can you tell me why people are spending more time? What could be the reason, and what could be done in order to optimize what you are telling? Anybody? So one thing is that Veda has identified a problem. The problem is, people are spending more time, but what could be the solution for that? Anyone? Offering freebies. Veda, like already there is a demand. When there is a demand, do you want to give away freebies? Because the discounts or the freebies or offers are given only when they're, when you don't have a demand, when you find people are not coming to the pub, right? So I think the freebies, okay, charges should apply for time spending time. Okay, no, the reason this won't work is because people will start hating you. The first of all, they come to your pub to enjoy the ambience in the pub, right? So they want to enjoy, the things that you're providing as a part of infrastructure. And if you start charging for them for the time, that's is not the right thing. Which you shouldn't have seen any of the pub which provides the which charge you for the time that you spend inside the pub, right? So usually there are some couple entries, or usually people go, even if they go as a single, and then they'll be charged more, or if they go in, in group, they will be charged less. So that's the thing that is there when it comes to the business model. So the business model isn't related to the time that is spent inside, but then the problem is people are spending more time. So what could be done for that? Anybody? Ankur, you have any ideas? Falguni, you have any ideas? Okay. Should I tell the answer? Can you, if you cannot think, then should I tell the answer, or do you want to think? Can all of you just say, you know, okay, I mean, the pub is already, offering the freebies to attract, okay, as number of pubs are more in the vicinity. See, the pub has not failed in terms of getting customers inside. Okay. So the pub has failed to generate money out of the pocket from, after the pocket of the people who are coming inside, right? So it's not a failure on on point of getting customers inside. People love coming to the pub, people love spending time inside the pub, but the problem is that, okay, increase the price of things. Okay, see, I'll tell you, especially when it comes to the pubs and the restaurant market, it is a price sensitive market to an extent. Okay, so if you increase the price, that might not be a ultimate solution, because your increase in the price might increase the sales, but then that it will be difficult for them to come next time if they see the price difference is too much. Okay, people are spending more time in the pub. That is good. We have to make them buy product. Exactly. So we have to concentrate on giving marketing okay, on giving the marketing of the product. Okay, so you see, normally, what best marketing that you can do is you have a menu. Okay, you have a menu which is there written, and then that's the best thing that you can do. You cannot announce the name of the products which are being sold, right? Doing the things so that the customer should uh, order more. Okay, what is that thing? What is that thing? Okay, can you also tell me, who will come to the pub? Let's go to the root of the problem. Okay, who goes to the pub? What is the audience? Or we call them as defining customer persona. Young, but can you be more specific? Because people also in the range of 40s and 45s, they call themselves young. So can you be more specific about the data? What do you mean by young? Introducing some new things, customer entertainment, like, okay, see, all these amenities are there inside the pub. You have a, normally when you have a pub, you have a music, you have a singer who's come, you have a DJ. Okay, so there are many things. Okay, Srinivas is saying people with post teenage, a teenage will go to the pub, but I have a problem with them. Do you think they will have money to spend if you target this segment? So your customer should be having money to spend, right? So yeah, coming back to the like question of the age, can you tell me what is the exact age that you want to target for the pitch, you're introducing your product of pub? Anybody? Okay, 10, 18 to 30 makes sense. Okay, 18 to 30. What about their like income background? Or okay, what about their like okay, people like 30s and 40s, so that they have spending capacity. Yeah, Satya, perhaps yes, maybe we can target. But then can you define in 30 to 40 what occupational segment would you like to come down? What occupational segment would you like to like introduce this product to? Anybody? Okay, okay. So what I'll do is, should I tell you the answer, or do you want to think more? Just say, think more if you think you should think more, or you can just say no, tell the answer. Answer. Okay. Okay, so I'll tell you the answer. Okay, because like normally when I talk to people, I ask a lot of questions. I may take your entire, yeah, you said time is also running, correct? So I'll just tell you the answer. The answer is they said, the consultant said, increase the music volume in the pub. Okay, it's a straightforward answer. He said, he analyzed everything, and he said that the increase the music volume inside the pub. Now my question to you is, what do you think is the link between the music and the sales? What do you think is the link between the music and the sales? Anyone? Can you just think on this? People are getting annoyed with the higher frequency sound, but then do you want to make them annoyed? They, they find some break. Okay, not exactly. They can enjoy, spend more time in the pub. Okay, they can enjoy and spend more time in the pub. That is what the problem is, right? You don't want them to stay inside the pub. You want them to have maximum fun. You don't want them to spend money and then go. So what could be the link between, why did the consultant said increase the music volume inside the pub? People will get into a party mode and have more drinks. So what? That's a very good point, Veda. You said people will get into a party mode and they'll focus on more drinks, and then the drinks is a high profit margin product for the pub, and that is what the pub is meant for, right? They want to sell you a liquor, right? Loud music attracts more people. Okay, no, this is not the thing. When you have a pub, there are rules which doesn't allow you to play a music which comes outside the pub. So whenever you must have visited the pub, if you must have, then you must have seen that the music volume wouldn't be heard outside the pub, because there will be a lot of disturbances in the vicinity, right? So mostly the pubs won't have a open music. It's a closed music, so it's insulated party hall, which pubs normally take. But that's a very good question, answered by Veda. It's saying that people will get into the party mode and then drink more. But then why they'll drink more? What will make them drink more? Okay. Since we again are running short of time, I'll just tell the answer. So the answer is, if the music volume is loud, the people talk less and drink more liquor. Okay, this is what happens to us when we are in the office, where we are in the college, or if you're there in anywhere. We just like, when there are more people around you, you take more time to finish a particular drink. When you're talking more, you will be focused more on talking and less on drinking. So you want people to focus on what they are doing. You want them to think on, or concentrate on their drinks, and that should finish up their drink faster, right? So you don't want them to talk. That's the first thing that you want to do. Okay, you observe that they also drink faster. Okay, if you have a louder music, if you're not talking, you'd end up drinking more because you're not doing anything else, and then at the same time you're drinking faster, right? At the same time, once you're fully drunk, they tend to leave the pub, so the new customer can walk in and feel the pub is less crowded. Okay, so this is a strategy. But my question to you is, but first, let us understand what's the problem. What was the actual problem? The problem was, people sat down on the chairs, they relaxed, they spoke with friends a lot when the music volume was low. So this led to more, or less alcohol consumption, and alcohol is a high profit margin from the pub, right? And when the music volume was loud, people talked less, drank more, danced more, so they got physically tired and left the pub quickly. So this helped them to increase footfalls. So this was the actual problem. Now my question to you is, how did the consultant figure this out? Can you think on this? Can you tell me, how do you think this consultant must have figured this out? How do you think, how did they come out at this conclusion? And this is a research. Okay, this is a research is done by one of the very famous consulting company. And this was the same problem which the pub in the Paris had come out with. So yeah, how data science predict with in algorithms in case of volume? Okay. um, well, not exactly. Yeah, data science is the solution for it. Yes, as Ankur said rightly, like, people have used data science, but how? Okay, so people have used data science, and as we all know, data science is the sixth sense of today's decision making, right? So people use data science everywhere, in the business, in the research, in which you name a field, it'll be there. I don't want to talk a statement like the sexiest job of 21st century, the new oil, because we all know that. We want to first understand how is the data science applied in a particular use case, right? And that is what I want you to focus on. I want you to understand what are the end applications of data science, right? So let's talk about what did the consultant really do. So can you tell me, can you give me some insights on this? Can you think of what would be if just imagine you are a data scientist, okay? What would be your approach to solve this particular problem, to arrive at this particular conclusion? Anyone? Analyze the customers. How do you analyze customers, Gopal? Okay, behavior analysis. How do we understand behavior analysis? Let us go to the root. Anyone? How do you understand behavior? By doing what? What do we need for analyzing? Okay, excellent. Yes, it's by observing the customers. Okay, Satya is saying that by observing the customers, we can understand the behavior. When we are observing the customers, what are we trying to do? Yes, Srinivas also says analyze the environment inside the pub. But how do we analyze the environment in the pub? When we analyze, what do we need when we are analyzing the pub? Okay, the answer is we need some data, right? But how will you collect that data? What is the mechanism by which you collect this data? Because we have to collect the data in order to apply data science. Anyone? One is by observing, but by observing you won't get the quantitative data, right? You will just get the sense of okay, yes, customer details. Shambhavi is saying customer details you can get. That's a very good thing. Yeah, but how, you can just check the billing information. That is one source of data. The sales of liquor, the customer background, yes, we can get the data from there. Is there any other technique by which? Excellent. Yes, Ankur is saying by camera, right? So from the camera also we can get a lot of insights. Yeah. Anything else? But then, like, to arrive at the conclusion that people are spending more time, and then like, you want them to spend less time, how will you get that fact? So we can basically check at every table, right? Every table in the pub, every person in the pub, how much time it takes. So you can have observations, and you can have some mechanism, or some person who is making you can make a note of some people who are coming, some sample of the people who are coming in the pub. So many things, right? So I'll tell you, how did they really do, what did they really do? So what they did was, the consultant studied around 60 pubs across different locations. Okay, so these were the 60 pubs they have taken as a sample. This we call as a sample, because it's impossible for us to study all the pubs in the world. So what we need to do is we need to take a sample. So first thing is, they have sampled the data here. So sometimes you may have access to the entire data, sometimes you may not have access to the entire data. That's the reason we need to sample the data. So that's the first thing that they did. Then they observed the behavior of close to around 500 customers who visit the pub. Okay, so they have done, as someone has said in the chat, that you can do a behavioral analysis, right? So a behavioral analysis can be done by observations, and then you can make a note of these people who are coming. You can collect the data about that, right? The next thing that what we can do is we can they did, in fact they did, was they conducted several surveys to understand why people actually come to the pub. Okay, so they wanted to understand, like, what kind of people who are coming, the people who are coming to the pub, why are they coming to the pub, what is the reason behind they coming to the pub, right? So all these things can be done by one, that is survey, right? The next is they set up something called as a pub lab. Now, like, I think someone, Ankur, said that, right? He said that we can have a cameras which are installed inside the pub. Okay, so what they do is they establish something called as simulations. Okay, now through these simulations we can capture a lot of data about people's emotions, about people, how they're drinking, and a lot of such stuff. Okay, so in the case where it is difficult for us to get the data about the specific things that we want to find out, so we can have several mechanisms by which we can collect such data, and such data we can analyze, right? So this is what the consultant did, and these were the results and the fact that they found during this particular case. So the first is, they understood that this, they analyzed this data. So they took the parameter as, one is music level, one is the number of units of drinks that were consumed, one is the time taken to finish a particular drink. Okay, so they observed when the music volume was low, that is 68 decibels. Okay, decibels is a unit of sound. The number of units of drink consumed was 1.5. Okay, and the time taken to finish the 250 ml set of a liquor was 20 minutes. Okay, it was very high. Okay, when the music volume was low. When it was normal, around 72 decibels. 72 decibels is a normal sound. Okay, that we speak normally. So it's around 2.6 units of the drink. So if you see here, the number of units of drink have increased, and the time has decreased, right? At the same time, when again it is increased to medium and then high, if you see that the number of units of liquor consumed have increased, right? At the same time, the time took to taken to finish the drink of 250 ml decreased, right? So if you see here, is there a concept that you can think of which can help us understand this? What is the concept called? Can someone help me understand this? What is the concept called? If you at all, if you have started studying data science somewhere, can you think of what is the concept called? What is this concept called? Anybody can think of this? Okay. So data visualization, no, it's not data visualization. Is there a statistical concept behind this? I understand that a lot of people are new. They might not understand, what is the statistical concept, but is there anybody who knows the statistical concept in this? Okay, the answer is something called correlation. The correlation help us understand the relationship between the two variables. Okay, anyways, we are not going to discuss that now. So we understood that there is a relationship, a positive relationship between the the music levels and the number of drinks consumed, and there is a negative correlation between the number, the music and the the time. Yeah, regression is also the answer. The correlation is the first root of regression. So I said regression, I mean, it's a correlation. So that's a very good answer, by the way. So now here, here were the findings, other findings. So one of the findings that they have reported in this particular research is talkers aren't best drinkers. And then you will laugh at this, I know. So they have, made a note of this in the research that the best talkers aren't the best drinkers, right? The second is lowering the illumination levels indicate, if you see, the pub will be having a lower illuminations. It is just to indicate the beginning of the nighttime fun, and people feel happy. Okay, so they also make, they also make them think that you should have maximum fun before the pub closes. So if you go to the pub even at 5 o'clock or 4 o'clock, you will feel that it's already night, right? So you start you start thinking that I should have fun and I should go home very early. So that's the reason the music, I mean to say, the light, the intensity inside the pubs is always low, right? So next is the type of music has significant correlation with the money spent. So what kind of music you're playing, you have a melody, you have jazz, you have rock. What kind of music is getting played is having a very, very significant correlation with the type of, the amount of money that they spend inside the pub. And the one more thing that they found was the higher income earners. If you have a higher income, that is not really mean that you will spend more money inside the pub. Okay, so there is no relationship between, if you are, if you are a high income group person, then you will spend more money in the pub. Okay, so if it is, if it was a strategy to target only the rich people who to come to a pub, then that isn't the right strategy. Okay, so this is the finding. You can have a just have a look at this findings, and these were the findings that they have reported in the research paper. So, like, did you like this case? By the way, did you understand the application of data science in this particular case? Though I know it's very simple, but just for us to understand, get the concept, linkage. Have you understood what the case is? Can you just say yes if you have? Okay, wonderful. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so now I think this case will be there in your mind whenever you are relating to concepts like correlation. Okay, I might discuss a little bit about correlation in the end of our session. So now we have understood a case. Now let's go and you know let's discuss about what we are here for. Okay, what we are here for, and it's a 3-point agenda which I have made a note over here. The first and the foremost thing is the kind of opportunities which we are having in data science today. Okay, this is the first thing. The second thing is what should be your data science learning path. Okay, and the third thing is top 5 tips to grab a job in data science during COVID-19 recession. Okay, so I'll be discussing about these 3 things with you, and then all your questions I'll be taking in the end. Okay, in the end I'll be taking all the questions that you have to ask me, and I'll answer them one by one. Okay, so if you have any questions in between when I'm discussing all these points, you can definitely ping me in the chat box, and then you can ask such questions to me, right? So let's first discuss about the ocean of opportunities. See, when I say open of the ocean of opportunities, there are plenty of opportunities. I need not tell you about what all opportunities are there, but I'll just highlight okay, Yeah. Okay. So I just, highlight some of the important points that you should consider and some of the important, surveys which have come. Okay. So if you see, even during the COVID-19, if you ask people who are having data science experience, the interviews are still happening. And that is a quite shocking point for me. Though the number of calls that they are receiving have decreased, I asked many of the, I have people in the US, I have a few people in the UK. So I asked them, like, what is the difference in the interview calls that you're getting on an everyday basis. So what they said is, yes, they were receiving before 15 calls and now they're getting 6 or 7 calls. And but at the same time, for the other projects, for other IT or other non-IT related jobs, the number of interviews have gone down. So, first few of the surveys that I'll just highlight to you. This is one, even on Glassdoor, if you check today, data science ranks number one. Okay. And it is there in that 25, job listings of, the number of jobs that are coming in the field. Okay. This is the first result that I researched on, and I found that, yes, there are still a lot of plenty of opportunities which are coming. And, I'll tell you, though there are many people who are doing, who are wanting to get a transition in this particular field, but then the the demand for quality data scientist is still high. Okay. It doesn't mean that you do a particular course and you become a data scientist. No, it's not like that. The To become a data scientist, you need certain amount, certain things. You need to know certain things, and you should be useful for the company that you are getting hired for. So I'll be discussing about what are those important things that people are looking for when they recruit you. Okay. The second is, one more data point that I have found out is, there is in India itself, there is 400% increase in the demand for data scientists. But of course, this number might have definitely got reduced because of the pandemic that we are having right now. But then once the market opens up, okay, once the market opens up, I'm sure that there are going to be plenty of opportunities that are going to come. And if you see there are two things which are coming to my mind when I say this point. uh, I was just talking to some of the e-commerce retailers. Okay, so there are some companies like Zappo, there are some companies like Zen Commerce, there are some companies like Shopify. The people who are there in these domains, they are telling that their sales have gone up by 400, 500%. Every other person on the street want to go online for building that e-commerce stores. Like they want to take their businesses online. So when they are taking their businesses online, the first thing that they need is the marketing for the online businesses. And you get these insights from these people. So you have a lot of data science work to be done, like building a chatbot. Like there are so many services which are there in demand when you have online businesses. Apart from that, there are a lot of people who are getting hired for as a healthcare data scientist. Okay. So in healthcare domain, there are a lot of openings which I can see in this in this particular period. So if you can just Google about what are the different opportunities which are there, you just see data science jobs in Bangalore, or data science jobs in Mumbai, or wherever. You'll see plenty of opportunities there. And what you have to do is, as a syllabus that you have to study, just read that job description. So you'll understand what all things they are expecting when you are when they want to hire a data scientist, right? So few of the things that that are needed, I'll be discussing those things in this particular today's webinar. So these are top recruiters. I just did a small research and tried finding out. Microsoft in Gurgaon is having a lot of openings. Adobe in Bangalore as well as in Pune having a lot of openings. Vodafone hiring a lot of company, the data scientists. We have Amazon, Accenture, Flipkart, EY, Fractal, JP Morgan, Deloitte. Now these are the top ones which I could just see in the Glassdoor. I could see in various other job portals that these companies are having a lot of demand for data scientists. Okay, so these are some of the companies which, in fact, there are many more. I could not all, but then if you have to ask me which are the top companies, then these are the top companies which are hiring right now, right? So now, what should be your data science learning path? Okay, what all things you should learn as a part of data science? How do we start? Okay, so the first thing is, if you are here, then how do you begin your data science learning journey is, I find many people jumping this step. That's strong statistical foundation. Okay, So the most important thing is you need to be having a strong statistical foundation. And trust me, guys, like many of the, even I've seen a lot of online programs which are there, even the YouTube videos which are there for statistics. Okay, they provide you a very good, foundational knowledge about theoretical aspects of, statistics. But then if you ask me the application aspect of statistics, I still find that missing in a lot of programs. Okay, so if you have to ask me how do you have to learn statistics, you have to learn statistics in the applied way. Okay, and which are the key concepts that you should be knowing in statistics, of course. Okay, the first thing is descriptive statistics. You should be able to describe the data, any data that comes in. You should be able to describe that data, and there is a lot of power and a lot of hidden insights which are there in descriptive statistics itself. Okay, so you can refer to the, like I'll be sending you the, the video of this particular webinar. You can refer to this learning part later also. So the first thing is, start learning descriptive statistics, start taking up some, some of the data sets which are there in the open domain, and try to think of those particular data sets. Maybe in the future webinars when I'm there coming back to, present you something, I'll tell you how you can use statistics to get derive a lot of meaningful insights from the data. So it's not like you just start learning, mean, median, most, standard deviation, kurtosis. No, it's not like that. You should apply these statistical concepts to derive some, meaningful insights from the data. Now, apart from descriptive statistics, you should be knowing something called inferential statistics. These are the two basic classifications of statistical, analysis. So in inferential statistics, you should understand different types of tests which are there. Okay, so that we have different tests like t-test, we have something called z-test, we have something called ANOVA, chi-square test, a lot of different tests, okay, which are used for hypothesis testing. So these are the topics that you should, like refer to. And of course, if you want to explore the learning path, I'll just show you some of the top, some of the websites where you can search for a proper learning path, what topics, how to learn that. So I'll explore, you to that, those things also. So now the next thing that comes after strong statistical foundation is, you might also ask me, what are different, tools? How do I learn? Using what tool can I learn statistics? See, if you are a non-programmer, okay, if you don't know anything about programming, okay, don't worry, you can use, a ready tool which is there on your desktop called Microsoft Excel for learning statistics, but only for learning statistics. Okay, so you can use this Microsoft Excel for almost doing, like most of the tasks that a data scientist has to do with respect to statistical analysis. Okay, so you don't have to use some, like tools like Python, or tools like, R, or tools like SAS at this stage when you're learning. So start small. Okay, start small with understanding, the statistical analysis. And trust me, you also don't have to remember any of the formulas, but you have to understand, or don't have to solve any problem using pen and a paper. No, you have to understand how a particular statistical tool works, and in what use case that particular statistical tool should be used. Okay, the next thing that comes in is, Python programming language, or you can learn R, you can choose anything, or you can learn SAS also. But your Python is having more opportunities in the market. At the same time, a lot of people, the community for Python, the community support for Python is very big. That's the reason I recommend you to, pick up Python. And also Python is very easy to learn. Okay, so we have, different applications of Python. You have Python which is used in web development, you have Python which is used in some other application development, but we are using Python for learning data science. Okay, so how do we learn Python for data science? On that, there are multiple, in fact, a lot of YouTube tutorials are there, a lot of, free content is there for learning Python. Okay, so you can learn that. So I won't say, like you'll have to pay for, or if you pay and start learning, the tools like Python, because this lot of content is available regarding this. The next thing is, is strong understanding of ML concepts. Okay, you should understand what's the difference between the statistics and machine learning. Okay, when you end your learning path at statistics, first understand, okay, what is the difference between the statistics and the machine learning, where statistics ends and where machine learning starts. Okay, I sometimes call machine learning as rebranded statistics, but like there are a lot of concepts in ML those are mathematical in nature, right? So you should understand what's the difference. You can start reading the blogs, you can like explore a lot of things here, read some literature about what is machine learning. There are different types of machine learning which is called, like we have something called supervised machine learning, We have something called, unsupervised machine learning. We have reinforced machine learning. Then we have something called deep learning. A lot of other things are there. But then, first understand what these concepts are, what these concepts help us do. Okay. So that is, what I call when I say understanding about machine learning. Okay. And if you have any questions regarding this, you can make a note of this. We will discuss this in Q&A. Okay. The next thing is the knowledge about databases. Okay. So there are two commonly used databases that you should be knowing about. One is, SQL, that is, we call it a SQL or structured query language, which is used for getting the data from database servers, which are called SQL servers. Like you have your Microsoft SQL server, or Oracle SQL server, or there are MySQL server. There are multiple SQL servers where the programming language which is used is something called SQL. Okay. So once you finish learning all your ML concepts, maybe you can go and now learn SQL. Because see, when you learn a one particular language, you should learn one language at a time. Okay. You cannot learn Python as well as SQL together. Okay. So finish everything, using Python, finish your machine learning using Python. Then you can start with learning SQL and NoSQL. When I say NoSQL, there are some, like tools like MongoDB. There is something called Cassandra. These are the database tools that you are supposed to be aware of. See, guys, I'll tell you, like the demand in the industry is too much. Okay. They want you to learn multiple things. Okay. They want you to already know a lot of things. And especially when you are there, during this kind of a job, I mean to say the job scenarios where there is a lot of competition outside, where there are lesser number of jobs which are coming up because of this pandemic, right? So we should be having a lot of tools in our inventory, in our skill inventory. Okay. So that's the reason I suggest you to learn first SQL. Start learning SQL. Once you learn SQL, you will also easily understand what is NoSQL. It's not that difficult to learn NoSQL. There is, you can start with something called MongoDB. MongoDB is very easy to learn and adapt, so you can try doing that. Okay. These are free. You can learn, this you can learn this course, I mean to say the tools, using some free software which are available. So next comes is something called big data. Of course, the profiles for big data are quite different. There are something called data engineers who work on big data. I'm not asking you to learn big data at the level where you should become a data engineer. Your learning path is for data science, which is more into statistical modeling, the machine learning, the deep learning, and things like that. But then when you're working, especially if you want to target some senior level position in data science, it is really required for you to understand the basic working of something called Hadoop. Okay. Now Hadoop is a big data framework which help you to process the bigger data, which help you to process the data which can be processed, which can be easily processed on, a smaller machines, instead of, without having to, to work on a bigger machines. So it gives you access to those bigger machines. Like for example, you have a lot of clusters. We can form a lot of clusters. Okay. So we can analyze the big data in by using this framework, which are normally, people use nowadays a lot, something called Hive. You can make a note of this. There's something called Hive, which is being used a lot for something called exploratory data analysis. And it is very, very close to how SQL works. Okay. So you can explore this also. I'm just making you aware about the learning path. We can discuss about how to learn, all these things in the Q&A session. There is also something called Spark, which is getting very, very famous nowadays. Okay. Especially if you ask me, my clients in the US, when I basically handle the projects related to healthcare in the US. So they are using Spark, especially when you have a very, very big data, and then you have to analyze this data, big data on a very compact framework. Okay. So we do something called exploratory data analysis that is done using Spark. So you should be knowing Spark also. And this Spark can be implemented by one of the Python framework called PySpark. Okay. So now next thing, after you learn big data, okay, which you are supposed to learn, you are supposed to, understand, the Spark and the Hive and a little bit of Hadoop. The next thing comes is data visualization tools like Tableau or Power BI. Okay, you can learn any of this. There are more tools like Google Data Studio. There are more tools like, Alteryx. There are a lot of other tools which are being used. But then if you get familiar with any one of the data, visualization tool, that's more than enough. Because when you are explaining your entire analysis, when you're explaining the data to your senior management, they won't understand what is Python, they won't understand what is machine learning, they won't understand what is, deep learning, they won't understand anything. They want you to explain them in a much better, in a graphical way, what is the solution of a particular problem, in, with a wonderful story. So if you want to build such stories, if you want to build such wonderful visualizations, then you should target the Tableau and Power BI. And especially if you're a fresher, you can learn three things. One is Excel, okay, that is for statistics. You can learn SQL and Tableau. There are specific profiles called data analyst. When you start your, like if you want to start off your career, then there are specific profiles called data analyst, which mostly uses these tools. That is Excel. You should be very good at Excel, Microsoft Excel. The second thing is SQL, and the third thing is Tableau or Power BI. If you know these things, there are plenty of opportunities in the data analyst domain, and then you can take a next step towards going into the machine learning profiles and things like that. Okay, so of course a data scientist should be aware about the usage of something called Power BI and the Tableau. Okay, the next thing that comes is you, a data scientist, especially experienced data scientist, should be having a knowledge about little bit of cloud. Okay, like how, especially one thing that is most important is how to deploy a particular machine learning application into a cloud environment, or how to integrate the machine learning service or a microservice that you built into a cloud or into any given application. Like for example, if you want to include a data science, a chatbot into the website, okay, or if you want to integrate some of the like capabilities of AI into the let's see what we say, the Android app, okay, or a iOS app. How do you integrate that? How do you deploy this particular service so that end user can use it? Okay, so that is what a deployment is. Okay, that is what when we say deployment, this is the process of deployment. So it is, deployment is process of making your service or a product which is built based on the AI, which is accessible for giving access of that particular service to the large users. Okay, now the next thing that comes is you can go into deep learning. You can shuffle deep learning. You can first learn deep learning and also go into deployment. I don't have any problem. But then before you start with deep learning, be comfortable about machine learning first. Okay, be comfortable about all these processes which I've said, like Hadoop, Power BI, Tableau, learning a little bit of cloud. And then in the end, you can start learning deep learning. There are various applications of deep learning. I'll tell you the basic difference between the machine learning and the deep learning. See, machine learning uses a lot of statistical and the mathematical models for deriving insights, for predicting for predicting the sales or whatever. Some people said they want to predict future. So if you want to predict anything, you can use this machine learning models. But and this machine learning models basically uses mathematics, statistics, okay, these concepts. Okay, now if you ask me how deep learning works, deep learning is kind of a way by which we mimic a human brain. Okay, we are trying to build some artificial neurons, and they deal with something called neural networks. Okay, so when people start talking about building a neural network, okay, so that's the concept related to deep learning. Okay, so deep learning basically tries to mimic a human brain. So it's a subset of machine learning, but it doesn't work the way machine learning completely works. Okay, if you have to ask me how is the entire classification, then there's a big umbrella called data science. Inside this data science umbrella, you have one part called data analysis, which is simple statistics. Okay, then there is one part called artificial intelligence, and this artificial intelligence is built by artificial intelligence is nothing but giving machine a capability to think like human. Okay, so now if you want to build them a capability, if you want to automate a lot of things by using AI, you use ML and deep learning. Okay, so that's the basic difference between the machine learning and the deep learning. Now the next thing comes is, yes, if you're done with all this, the next thing is done. Okay, this is the final step of deep learning, will be a final step. And if you want to ask me, is the deep learning final thing? No, it's like at every stage you have to do multiple projects. Okay, you have to do a lot of real-time applications of what you have learned. Okay, and that is the ultimate learning path for data science. Okay, if some of you want, you can just take a screenshot of this entire learning path. This is very, very important for you to understand. And if you are a person, okay, who is a fresher engineer, okay, a fresher engineer, or if you're a person with 4 to 5 years or 3 years experience, okay, so you should be especially focusing on cloud. You should be especially focusing on big data and Hadoop. The reason is you can target some specific job profiles which can help you aim for a higher salaries as compared to what you're learning. Okay, so for a freshers you can just start off with statistics, machine learning, Python, and perhaps deep learning. Okay, deployment is not that important for you, but then if you're an experienced person, okay, you should be working as a solution architect, okay, or a data scientist, senior data scientist. Okay, so for them it is highly recommended that you have a knowledge about big data, you have a knowledge about cloud, because you will be playing altogether a different role in the organization when you are a senior. Okay, and that's the reason you should be having a knowledge about all this. Okay, now that this is the learning path, now talking about what should be your strategy. Okay, what should be your strategy to get a career transition into data science, or to get a breakthrough into the data science career. Okay, so I want to ask all of you, now that I've told you all this, okay, what should you do? What do you think you should do? And then I'll tell you, what can be done to get a smooth transition into data science career. Okay, so I have a roadmap which is drawn for you, a roadmap, some important points which you should consider while you build your data science career, while you start learning data science. Can you tell me, what could be, or if you might have heard somewhere, any things, what is the one most important thing for you to get a breakthrough into data science career? Can you just message me this? Okay, my question is, okay. So Srinivas is asking me about automobile industry. I'll come to that, Srinivas. Can you now tell me, what is that one thing which will help you to get a job into data science? Just message me, what is your feeling, what you should do? Anybody? Ankur, we have Falguni. Can you say a little bit about it? Gopal, Janvi, dealing with data science in terms of dealing with data. Okay, in terms of what? Okay, anybody else? Learn tools. See, learning tools is, as I told you, you'll be anyways learning the tool, you'll be following that learning path. Okay, so you'll be learning tools, but in order to get job, because everybody who's learning data science will be learning all these tools, right? So what is that different thing? The improving skills, when you say, everybody is trying to improve the skills, but how do you improve your skills is the question. Okay, how do you get experience? Because like when you're newbie, when you're new to the data science field, how will you get that experience? What is the way by which you can get that experience? Because you will be seeing that people, when they go to the market, the recruiter says we want experienced person, but how do you get that experience? Okay, interdisciplinary skills, can you be more clear about that? Because we're quite open-ended. Experience dealing with the problems, but how do you get this experience is my question. Yes, excellent, you can do some internships, but then if you are a working professional, how will you do internship? Okay, so these are the questions that I'm going to address. Making solutions for real-time problems, but then like when you are building solution for real-time problems, how do you identify these problems? How do you identify that this is a problem that can be solved, and then how do you implement it? Okay, because there should be some aid, there should be some organization, or there should be someone to tell you, okay, this is the application that you're trying to build, and then yes, it is possible to implement using data science. Yes, so but then how do you identify that problem facing in real time? But I'll tell you, many people do this, Srinivas. Many people say that, okay, I'll be solving a real time problem. Many like mentors also will be telling you, solve some real time problems, solve some real time problems, but then how do you identify these real time problems? Because like if you keep it open ended, it just becomes open ended, and then there is no specific narrow down strategy for that. So what is that exact thing that you can do? Okay, anyways, I won't take much time over here. I'll come to my agenda of helping you with your data science career transition. So here we go. The first one is adopt the learning path and learn all the skills. Okay, So that is the first time, as many of you also said that yes, we need to learn skills. Follow that learning path. Okay, follow that exact learning path and learn all those tools that I've said over there. Okay, that's the first thing that you should be doing, because until and unless you are skilled enough, you won't get opportunity to work with anybody. Okay, you won't get, because people won't even talk to you if you just learn half and come to them. Okay, and or you cannot back them, saying, okay, teach me this. No, no, nobody has time to teach. Okay, so first thing is, there are multiple ways by which you can learn. You can either take up a particular course, or you can learn on your own. I don't have any restrictions on people who are learning on their own. I have learned on my own, and then though I was working on the job. Okay, so I'm not done a specialized a degree in data science and all. It just came, the problem statement came to us. There was a team in my company which I was working before, my previous company, and then this project came to us, and then we had to learn. This companies provided us some training. We asked some people in the other teams, how do you implement this? So collaboratively it happened. And then like I have implemented close to around 52 projects until now in data science, with a lot of startups, as well as a lot of foreign companies. Okay, so now how do you do, how do you learn? Okay, first as I told you, follow that particular learning path. And when you are learning, learn bottom up. When I say bottom up, first see the application. First explore what all different problem statements are there. Okay, there is something called Kaggle. Okay, you can check a lot of competitions which are hosted on Kaggle. You can see what kind, how they're providing a solution for that particular problem. Okay, just understand what kind of problem statements are, and then learn the concept. First apply, then learn the concept. So that is the the way by which I call it as the reverse engineering process. Okay, so reverse engineer everything. So for example, if you want to like apply data science in a particular use case, first see how people have used it, and then try to learn the concept. Okay, so don't follow the usual learning path that we were following until now during our college times, that we learn all the theory and then apply that theory into the practice, into the practice. No, in this case, what you need to do is, if you want to learn faster, then first understand the use case, see how people have used data science in that particular use case, then come and learn the concept. Okay, this is the first thing. And then yes, as I said, follow that particular learning path. The next is build a strong proof of concept. Okay, so as I just listed down in the sequence of ABC. So the A is adopt the suggested learning path. The second is build a strong proof of concept. Okay, when I say proof of concept project, okay, especially if you are a person in some other domain right now. Say for example, you are a software engineer. Say for example, you're a marketing personnel. Say for example, you are a biomedical personnel, or any other domain. Okay, so you need to first showcase what you have done in data science, so that companies listen to you. Okay, and how you can do it is, I'll tell you, there are various options. There are multiple startups. Okay, there are in fact many startups who are working on AI products. Okay, now you should apply for an online internship. Okay, and this internship you should apply only when you have finished learning the entire things, entire concepts in machine learning. Okay, you apply for these internships and work remotely with them apart from your working time. So guys, you need a lot of commitment when it comes to this, because you're building your portfolio now. This is the process of building your portfolio. Okay, so as if it takes around 6 to 7 months for you, I'll tell you, if someone says that you can learn machine learning, deep learning, everything in data science in 2 3 months, I'm telling you, you're getting fooled. Okay, it takes at least 6 to 7 months, or max 8 months, for you to learn everything in data science in detail. Okay, in order to do the project and everything. Okay, so now once you have learned all those things, how do you apply that is only by not having the open-ended problem statement that I'll do this, I'll do that. No. Okay, the startups provide you the best platform for you to practice your skills. So what you need to do is get yourself an internship with one of the good startup. And when this startup will listen to you is at least when you have the good knowledge in data science, you're good in Python, you're good in implementation. If they feel that they can contribute, then they will provide you opportunity. Okay, and I'll tell you, there are multiple places. Like for example, there is NASCOM, 1,000 startup village. Okay, you can approach. There are multiple startups in there. There is Internshala. there is Hello Intern, there are many internship portals, there is LinkedIn. Okay, now I'll be speaking about that also. How do you market your profile? I'll be speaking about that also. Okay, so these people will be providing a platform for you to build your POC. Okay, for you to build your proof of concept. Only when you have your proof of concept, if you are an experienced person, the people will, the companies will listen to you. Otherwise they won't listen to you, trust me. Okay, so the first thing is, once you have studied all these concepts, focus on building the proof of concept. Okay, the next is the third step: choose a particular specialization or a domain to do research. Okay, see, data science is the ocean. Okay, if you ask me, even today I'm learning a lot of things which are coming new in data science. Every day there are some new research papers which are coming in data science. Okay, so you can, like, there is a website by Cornell University, you can, like, refer to that. There is something called Cornell University Research Portal. So just Google for something called Cornell University Research Portal and search for the research papers which are getting published in the data science domain. Okay, so you'll come to know there are so many problem statements which people are trying to address, and they are trying to find the solutions for such problems, especially into deep learning. Okay, so you have to choose different specialization. Like, for example, you have to become something called NLP expert. Okay, so what is NLP? NLP is natural language processing. So that is one of my specialization, in fact. Okay, so what you can do is you can study everything, because you cannot learn everything. So take a particular domain and start studying everything in that particular domain. Okay, when I say domain again, if you have an experience into insurance, okay, take up insurance as a domain and study different problems under the insurance domain. See what all types of different applications of data science are there in that particular domain. Then, like, if you have to take a domain or a specialization with respect to data science concept, like image recognition, like video processing, like machine learning is altogether a different domain. Okay, so you have to specialize in a particular domain. When you specialize in a particular domain, you get to understand that domain very well, and you can specifically target for these opportunities which are there in that particular domain. Okay, so if you have to ask me, anything under the domain which I don't know, there are many things which are there, but I won't be expert in that particular domain because I might have just read about it. Okay, so for example, NLP, if you ask me anything about NLP, I'll be able to tell you. If you ask me anything in the e-commerce and healthcare, I'll be able to tell you because I've done projects in this. But if you ask me some other field, because every field application of data science is different. Okay, so first choose your specialization, then choose a domain also, and do research in this particular domain. When you have a domain knowledge and also a data science knowledge, people will listen to you. Okay, the next is domain, like dominant resume. Like, you need to build your resume, you need to build your social profiles. Okay, when I say social profiles, you need to build your GitHub profile. There is something called GitHub where you can portray a lot of your work. You can portray what kind of work or what kind of projects, what kind of assets in data science you have built for yourself. Okay, so these are the things which you should put in your data science, I mean to say, your GitHub profile. Participate in a lot of Kaggle competitions. Like, Kaggle competitions is best way for you to practice when you're a learner. Okay, so when you're learning, you need to, showcase your skills by participating in competitions. That's one good way of measuring how much you know. Okay, apart from that, build a very, very strong LinkedIn profile. Okay, so your LinkedIn profile should be visible. Your LinkedIn profile should have different projects which I mentioned. Your LinkedIn profile should have well defined skills. Okay, it should have a proper description of what things you have learned. You should showcase all that in your LinkedIn profile. Only when your LinkedIn profile is strong, people will start connecting with you. You will come in that particular, problem space. Like, for example, there are a lot of people who are trying to find jobs in data science. You will come in that particular community, and once you're part of that community, you'll come across various job, interviews, various, the interview questions people are asking. So they'll be discussing about a lot of those things, and you will be able to dominate in that particular community only when you portraying yourself, you are showcasing your skills. And the way to showcase your skills is what, all about 3 point I've told you, right? And the last thing that I would like to tell you is extensive networking. Okay, once you have built your profile, network a lot. Okay, when I say network a lot, you should be, like, connecting to a good data scientist in different organizations, the data scientists who are doing a lot of research. Okay, you should write your own blog post about different concepts. Try educating the community. after writing the post. Like there are various forums like Medium, there is a forum into towards data science, or you can publish a blog into, LinkedIn portal. So you should, basically start writing. Okay, so you start getting recognized, so people will start connecting to you. And I'll tell you, I have got a lot of opportunities after writing a lot of blogs, articles, and things like that. Okay, so this is a very, very important thing. Your networking, will definitely get you a lot of opportunities. Okay, focus on this. So these are the different things, guys. I cannot, because it's already time. I had only 1 hour to talk to you. Maybe sometime other, I'll also discuss some more insights by taking each and every of these domains and telling you what all different strategies that you can adopt in, each and every thing that I've discussed, in today's session, right? So this is it from my side, guys. You can ask me any questions that you're having, so that I can help you and answer these questions. I might not able to answer all the questions now because it's already a time, but if you ask me some specific question, I'll definitely help you answer these questions. Anyone has any questions? What is the role of a data scientist in auto industry? Okay, yeah. See, there are, like I'll tell you, Srinivas, I'm not a expert into data science at auto industry, but there are multiple problem statements that you can solve, which are related to, perhaps the, like for it depend on, like what exactly you're trying to understand. Are you trying to build a self-driving car? There also there is opportunity. Are you trying to, conduct some kind of a research into the forecasting of the purchase of the vehicles, or you can do a lot of design related research using data science. So how our future cars will look like. Okay, what kind of capabilities that they should be having. Okay, that also you can do. You can also do a lot of sentiment analysis to understand where the industry is going. So multiple domains. I'm not specific, I'm not done any applications with respect to the data science in auto industry, but that is as of now, though I'm not seeing many people using it, but especially the companies like Volvo and all, they're hiring data scientists. And what they do is they are working on a lot of research into modifying the lot of parts by using data science, adopting a lot of optimization approaches and things like that. Okay, so yeah. Yeah, yeah. Can I gain data science? Yeah, of course. Yes, MATLAB is a very good tool. I have used MATLAB myself for some of my electronics work. But then in data, you can use data science. You can. There are a lot of data science libraries inside MATLAB itself. And MATLAB, of course, being a statist, you can. It's one of the good statistical tool that you can use for doing a lot of statistical research also. So it has many machine learning capabilities. You can learn MATLAB for data science also. You can apply the concepts of things. Yeah. Okay, what's the career path? Career path I have already explained, Gopal. You should be referring to the slide which I shared you before. I'll be sharing the presentation with you. Okay, you can refer to the path, and then you can trace the everything what I've discussed in that particular career path. Okay. Okay, if you mean like, okay, you mean career path, not the learning path, right? Okay, I understood. So when I say career path, you initially, if you're a fresher, you join as a data analyst or a junior data analyst, a junior data scientist. Okay, or you learn as a machine learning developer. So these are the different like field which are there in the first. Okay, then now once you have become a junior data scientist, you work under a particular senior data scientist, or a data scientist. Okay, so you support them with a lot of data pre-processing tasks. Okay, you support them with a lot of data extraction part or some model building. So a senior data scientist will be a person who will be knowing, having an experience into a particular domain. He will be knowing how to use machine learning or a deep learning algorithms. He'll be knowing how to deploy. He'll be knowing how to architect a solution for a particular data science project. Okay, so he's a senior data scientist. Then you can become a data science solution architect. Okay, so this is solution architect is like, you need to be having a knowledge about all the big data technologies. You need to be having a knowledge about different deployment strategies. Okay, so you formulate the entire problem statement in terms of a solution. Okay, a proper data science solution. So that is what I'm doing right now. Okay, I'm a solution architect. Okay, so I can, if you ask me a particular data science a problem, if you provide me a problem, it's my job to understand what technology to be used there. Okay, what kind of what kind of data I'll be having, how to set up an entire data pipeline, how that particular pipeline is going to be established. Okay, such things I do. Okay, so that is the next level position for you. Now once you get around 4 to 5, I mean to say 8 9 years of experience or 10 years of experience, more than 10 years or 15 years of experience, okay, you become a particular researcher in that particular domain. You become a domain expert in that particular domain, and you can start consulting a lot of other projects also. So that's the learning path. So initially you join as a machine learning developer, or you can join as a data scientist, or a junior data scientist, data analyst. Then you become senior data analyst. Then you become a solution architect, and then you become the head for that particular, like for example, people, they call them as principal data scientist, okay, who are heading that particular entire unit. Okay, so that's how the learning path and career path is. Okay, so yeah, Janvi is saying that she is from biotechnology background. What can you say about the job related in data science? Okay, yes, Janvi, I'll be telling you, since I'm there into the healthcare domain also, because I've done some projects in the healthcare domain before. So I'll tell you, in biotechnology, you should be targeting the data science into healthcare. Okay, you can start just read about how, where is the data science used now, in the healthcare industry. So especially in the clinical research side, and there is something called as a EHR. You can read about this. Okay, it is especially used in the US and the UK for understanding the health, the insurance companies, the life insurance companies, and the health insurance companies. These are the areas where a lot of data scientists getting hired, and there is a very very high demand here, because very less health professionals are actually having the knowledge about data science. Okay, it's a very narrow and a niche field, with a lot of opportunities. Okay, so you can target that. You can start reading about healthcare data scientists. There are profiles which are there in this particular. Domain knowledge means what is the language, specialization, study, or what industry you work. Okay, so when I say the domain knowledge, as you said, right, I think Srinivas said that he's work. I think you're working for auto industry right now. Okay, so when I say auto industry, there are some processes like automation. Okay, there are some processes which it require, which have access to a lot of data. Okay, so when you have a knowledge about that particular domain, you can identify problems in that particular domain. You can gather data in that particular domain. So like one very important part of the applying a data science is knowing the domain. Okay, like there is a person who is having 18 years of experience into IT operations. Okay, so now if you ask him, like how will you get a transition into data science? See, there are a lot of IT operations which are going into automations. Okay, now how do we build a automation for those problems? Because he knows the problem in that particular domain, since he has worked that there from last 18 years. Okay, so he should physically basically focus on first learn data science and identify the opportunities where he can use data science in that particular domain. Okay, so maybe he will have to study the problems where data science have been used in the similar domain first, then try to see if he can understand that particular domain and then apply it there. Okay, so that is how you narrow, that is how the importance of the domain is. Okay, so domain knowledge plays a very very vital role. Okay, how long it will take? Okay, before that, Veda has asked a question. I have experience in finance, business research in over 10 years. Okay, in 4 years. Okay, in quit my job. Okay, I'll tell you, Veda, I'll tell you around my own experience. If you check my LinkedIn profile, I am, like when I'm in fact, IT engineer. Then I've done my MBA also, and I was working for an investment banking company into finance. Okay, so you can check my LinkedIn profile. Okay, so what I was doing was I initially joined as a statistical research analyst. Okay, so I was working for econometrics domain. Okay, then I got opportunities to work on some e-commerce domains. Okay, that is business domain, a business research domain. So I was doing a lot of market research. Okay, and since I was from an engineering background, and I was a very fast and adaptive at learning the new things that they were coming. This I'm telling in 2000 13 14, when I was working for companies. Okay, so I understood there are these technologies which are coming in, and I requested to work on a particular project into a deep learning. Okay, that was for some kind of an image recognition project, a video processing project that I worked on. So I understood there what all are the applications, and I understood what technologies, I understood how these technologies are used in that particular domain. So I'll tell you, in 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 finance and business research itself, there are multiple problems that can be addressed by data science. Okay, so your domain experience there plays a very, very vital role. Okay, especially if you ask me about the business intelligence. Okay, like for example, you are doing some kind of a let's say you want to propose a better solution. Those solutions are driven by using data today. Okay, so if you are aware about something called Google Analytics, okay, for e-commerce business. Okay, so in Google Analytics, people do research on data by understanding what kind of customers come on your website. Okay, what do we recommend them. Okay, which type of customers at what come at what time. Okay, so those researches, though there there's a very big field that you can do a research. You can apply data science techniques to identify something called user segments, then product segments, then recommender systems for products. Okay, so a lot of such applications are there. And your especially if you are knowing a idea, if you are having a finance background, then target econometrics domains. There is a lot of demand for such work in in data science. Okay, so that's there for you. Whether you can try, you can yeah, of course. And you have asked me that you have been 4 years left quit my job, so do you think? Of course, yes. Okay, this is the field that you should focus on. Okay, this is the future. In fact, you can definitely focus on, learn data science and go into the same domain that you were there before. Okay, go into finance, business research domain itself. Don't leave your domain when you have 10 years of experience in it. Claim your domain experience and then try to get a job in that particular field. Okay. So how long will it take for you to learn these tools ideally? As I said, 6 to 8 months. Okay, nothing less than that. You will have to spend time. And as I said, build a strong POC. Okay, if you build a POC, I think it should be easy for you. Okay, online course. What about online course in data science? See, there are plenty, Srinivas. You can learn online. Okay, but before you take up a particular course, Srinivas, what you should be doing is you try to get some preliminary idea about a little bit of data science. Okay, don't straight away jump and start like investing your time into straight away into data science course. First, learn some primary things. Okay, learn some basic statistics. Okay, so maybe you can take a very short course in from Coursera, some open domains. Okay, and then maybe like I'll help you to get things better. Like for example, you can, if you want, you can talk to me. I can help you of the session here. We can discuss what kind of courses you can do, what should be a learning path. But don't straight away jump and take up a particular data science and then learn. Okay, take your time. Okay, do proper research and then take up a course. Okay, and if you ask me about should I do masters now, because a lot of people were asking me before in one more webinar that should I do a master in data science, is really not required. Okay, so just focus on acquiring the skills, build a small strong POC. That should be enough for you to learn data science. Okay, sure, Srinivas, you can connect me on LinkedIn. Yes. Okay, anybody else have any questions? I can take one more question last if you have any. Okay, so I think if it is done from your end, I'll hand over the session to Vashisht. Okay, so Vashisht will be helping you. He will be the person who will be handing over the things from now. Over to you, Vashisht.
Yeah, thank you, Omkar. I hope you all got what you wanted to know how to shift into the career of data science. There's not much, I guess, left out by Mr. Omkar Raikar. So, what I'll be doing is we'll be sharing you my contact info and I'll be sharing you Omkar sir's LinkedIn profile. You can get in touch with us anytime. We would be happy to help you and to make the career transition into data science. That's all from our side, guys. I hope we have answered our questions. There's just one thing which I would really appreciate if you could fill in this feedback form and let us know how helpful our webinar was to you. All right, that would be it from our side. Thank you, guys. We hope to get in touch with you soon.